So we have already discussed how we can execute the batch file using SOATEST client, and now I'll show you how we can connect to the cloud. For that, we need different batch file in which we'll have a cloud credential. So basic requirement is you need to have the PowerShell, and your IT person can provide you the script for that. Can you provide the access for that? And apart from that, you need to install PowerShell on your main server on which you need to run the cloud. So if you are having a Jenkins server and you are having a continuous build system, it must be already there in your server. So if you don't have, this is the VMware Power Client EXE, which is available with my training material. You can install or get it installed with the IT. And for that, connecting to the cloud, we need one is batch file, one is the report batch file. This will contain the report parameters. And this is a batch file which we use for executing our tests on the environment, which we saw earlier. Command line thing. So this will be called, this batch file will be called on all the environments. If you are working with different environments, Windows, Linux and others, then there will be a setup for each. So there will be a workspace for each, an environment for each. So we will have multiple SOA home, and like you can copy the same for different tests, or you can say if I want to run different tests again, I can say set resource equal to, and the resource path which we can fetch from the properties, Parasoft test properties, which we saw earlier, like this. We can go to the properties file. This is the resource path. Like this way, you can run on different environments also, and you can mention the environment name here. Mentioned here also and there also. So one by one, it will run on different environments. In the SOATEST, you need to create the environment here. Like there is the environment tab. If you say new, it will create a new environment. You can name it Linux and provide the visual URL with the server IP of the Linux machine. So visual URL will contain the server IP of the Linux machine on which it has to run. So it will execute the test using Windows system on the Linux environment. Only the thing is your visual should be the what file should be deployed on that server. So are you getting what I am saying? Because it is required if you do the automation framework. It would be required. So in this I can type the Linux machine IP, say it is and you can mention the path of the visual, blah blah blah. Name you can mention visual, and your test should contain like whenever I create a test suite and test, my visual should contain the URL for the, because it should be parameterized URL like this. Okay, this is the visual tab. If I parameterize this URL, I'll give it like this. in the braces and say $6 and refresh. Same thing at the endpoint. So it will parameterize. It will take the visual URL from the environment file. And here also, if I go to transport, I have to parameterize this path also, endpoint also. I can put this endpoint in the environment tab as an endpoint. A endpoint. Now I can go to the test again. एंड में यहाँ पे आपकी सर्विसेज वगैरह स्टोर होती है, यहाँ पे भी होती है आपकी। यहाँ पे विजुअल को दे दिया, सेम यू हैव टू गिव फॉर ट्रांसपोर्ट ऑल्सो। तो कस्टम यहाँ पे आप डॉलर एंडपॉइंट ब्रेसेस भी दे देंगे, तो इट विल टेक द पैरामीटराइज URL फ्रॉम द एनवायरनमेंट टैब। And whenever you run this, give the path in the batch file, you will provide environment Linux. Environment is equal to Linux, which we mentioned there, and name of the environment, and Windows for Windows. So it will run on Windows, then on Linux, like this. Yeah, there will be 2 lines, like same you will copy. This you will copy. Because the resource file will be different for that, right? The resource file and other things. So you will need to create a separate client file. Like this. Here you can say Linux. Save this file and exit. And for any automation framework, you would need different things, like you need parameterization, you need different data sources. You have to place all the data in the Excel file or CSV, whatever format is supported is by your client. And apart from that, you would need cloud environment in which whenever your build runs, your test should execute automatically as a build is created. That can be done by using Jenkins, which is a continuous integration server. And have you anybody worked on Jenkins, or you have seen how it works? Okay, Jenkins is a continuous integration server in which once the developer checks in his code in the SVN, build is created. After the build is created, your test should run. So in that case, you have to configure batch file within Jenkins in the post build tab. So there is a post build tab in Jenkins, which I will show you right now. Okay. Okay, this is the Jenkins UI. You can log in. So now when you log in, you will see different tabs here, dashboard and everything. Go to your build server. I have a build for expression server. I can give it like this. Say I am going to my QA environment. I can see view configuration here. So it will like take the whenever a build is created, you can set this like there is an option. Build triggers, then there is a pre-steps, build steps, build environment, post-build actions. So in the post-build steps, you will give the parameters for the batch file, say part of the batch file. Then whenever a build is created, your post-build step will trigger, and that will work. That all your tests will be fired, and your results will be like notified to the your client or your manager, everyone. So this way you can automate end-to-end using CI. If you are using Jenkins, otherwise if you are not using Jenkins, what you can do is you can use a Windows scheduler and schedule it say at the midnight. Schedule a test for at the time of midnight. So whenever that time is reached, your test will trigger, and because the build will be created automatically by the server, and your test will fire on those builds. For end-to-end, you first of all, what all you need? You need the steps you will create in Parasoft. You will create the batch file which will call the resources, right? Other thing which you need is you need the different environments on which you have to run your test. That you will create in the environment tab in the Parasoft. Apart from that, what all you need? Tell me, while you are automating. Who all has worked on automation? You need the scripts, right? Then you need the data source. Then what else you need? One is you need the logging procedure. So logging can be done using this Parasoft test only. And you can also write script which will read the logs while you run the test.
But by default it is part of framework, right?
Yeah, it provides you the Parasoft provides you the framework, and it also provides you the logging facility. What else you need? One is logging, one is data source, one is script, exception handling. For exception handling, you do custom scripting, right? And what else? We can categorize, you can write here what all we need for automation framework.
Framework that depends on what kind of framework.
Yeah, you need a data-driven framework or a hybrid framework. Yeah, for every framework you will need the data source, right?
Continuous integration, that as you said, it is some way done it post deployment.
Yes.
As a building and as a smoke and then we run the integration. If it's the other method, we have this continuous integration. Otherwise, we do not have continuous integration.
Okay, let me continue. Like what all we have master? देखिए चलो आते हैं डिस्कस कर लेते हैं इसको हमने सही बताया टेस्ट we need data source, we need logging, we need exception handling, we need to handle the exceptions. What are the else we need? So
we need to have an integration where this really could correspond to this test case and the integrating has to be there.
Integration you will do the test only. You will, yeah.
But it has to report back to the test management.
That's what I told. Notification. Email notification is part of this batch file which I showed you. And you need the client tools which will run your tests. So, like SOATEST client tool will help you to run the test without the UI, Parasoft UI, on the command line.
That depends whether you want to virtualize or application is already ready. If steps can also be provided sometimes.
Steps can be provided, but when you are creating automation framework, you don't depend on steps, right? You have to run in the real environment.
No, it depends. In my previous Parasoft project, we were creating years before the application was ready. We were working on agile methodology.
Okay.
Whatever Jenkins, we were using Hudson
Okay.
for continuous integration, and we were using Selenium for frontend.
Okay.
But continuous integration never worked with it. But the proposal was like, we will be working on continuous, and what we will do is based on the steps, we are creating the steps, and we have completely eliminated the manual execution. So instead of manual execution, we are directly running the Selenium.
It's okay, but it depends on the requirement, right?
Yeah.
But if the client says I don't need the stuff, then what you will do? You have to create the, you have to have some procedure.
Application is stable and we have to follow the traditional approach of automation.
Traditional approach you will follow, but you should have a framework to do that in this framework. So for framework, what all you do, you have the data sources, you have the exception handling, you have the test scripts, you have other things like what all you need.
Then the driver will
You have the drivers, you have that say reporting mechanism in which all the reports will be generated, and apart from that, what all you need.
we can change the data sources whether they want to use from Excel or CSS.
That will come in data entry. And what else? So if you design a framework, so you can open one document in which will give you some idea. So you have worked on Selenium, right? So what else is required? You can see the framework here. This is the page object model. So I'll tell like what is written there. Config, in which all the configurations should be there, which we are doing in the batch files, right? We are giving all the configurations. Then input test data, we are having the Excel data source and CSV data source. Then lib folder, in which we will be having all the jar files which will be reported at runtime. Like if you want to set the run the database connectivity, then those jar files should be there, or you have to import at runtime.
That is only for this thing, Java.
But connectivity also. Connectivity also we need the jar files for database connectivity, visibility jar and everything.
Java is specific to Java. It's not like this is we have.
But if you code in Java, Parasoft also provides you the code in Java. If you are well versed with Java, you can code in Java. Then in that case, you can put the jar file in the lib folder. Output data means where your reports will come. You should have a folder where all reports will be generated. Then reports. Then this defines what all approach you will follow. Like you will follow page object model. You will have individual pages wherein all your say for common functionality or for all your XPath and different things which are changing and which can be modified at the same place, one place. And you need the build.xml. In build.xml you will define, say if you are using Maven or Ant. In case of Ant you need the build.xml. You will put all the tests in build.xml, test configurations, and then when you run, it will take all, at the runtime it will take all the test cases, name and everything from the build.xml. But if you are not using Ant, you can just use the batch file as I told you. You can schedule the same batch file and you can run at runtime. So what else is required for connecting to the cloud? We'll do some framework approach also. We'll have some exercise for that. Tomorrow we'll be doing exercises only for be present. Practical exercise session will be there. So we will focus more on practical tomorrow. But Parasoft already has a framework. Single framework. You don't need to go for test and your ideas.
But let's say somebody is already having some existing code and they want to migrate it to Parasoft. How would this help? Let's say I have created something in Selenium and I have created a front end.
Parasoft supports Selenium driver. You can import the code using the Parasoft Selenium code.
So I have to convert everything to Java, but the framework would be different, right?
Framework could be different, but jar file would be there which you can import.
Jar file is like for a web driver.
Yeah.
Rest of the things I would have created a framework and I would have had my own packages jar file.
But that would not be required in this case because you in Parasoft mainly you are working on web services actually. You are not doing the UI or other things.
But let's say you can integrate.
You can do, but
backend and
you can do end to end. But if you have a framework there, Selenium framework for UI, when you rework on this.
No, but let's say I have already Java to something front end. Now I want to integrate front end and back end both. I have an end-to-end solution. That is the reason I want to.
That can be done by you can call the Selenium script via batch file. Like we call the Parasoft script via batch file. And after that you can validate the tests which are written in database connectivity tests written in Parasoft using Parasoft tool and again batch file will be called. After your tests are done, another batch file will be called which will lead those tests. So you don't need separate.
I have 10 pages. I have automated all the 10 pages.
Right.
And corresponding web services there. Front end, what I have done is I have not included the back end. I'm assuming if the front end is working fine, back end is working fine. So now I want to say something happens, the application is not stable, that is something in back end is not working. So I want to figure it out whether it is a front end problem or a back end problem. I want to integrate this SOA with the back end. I want to one script I want to run for front end and the corresponding back end will be tested so that I can say it's not get tested. So that time integration would be difficult because if I run all the Selenium scripts in one shot and the back end scripts I will not be able to integrate for which front end this back end service is not working. So that is the reason I want to test how we can.
So how many do you have a scenario in your current project or you are just taking a picture?
Current scenario I don't have it, but in the past we say.
But most of the cases we don't have this kind of scenarios. Like when you are running a web services.
No, sometimes like
if you are
say why you want to test everything back end as well. If something is working in the front end by default default it is okay.
It is coming from the backend. Yeah. Data is coming from the backend itself. So you validate some part of the backend.
But over a period of time, what happens is it somewhere something is breaking and figuring out where exactly the break is happening. Because now, okay, there is something code is breaking and application is not working. But it becomes very challenging to point out that place and say, hey, this is exactly where it is failing.
Okay.
And then the client comes back and says, okay, fine, it's not working, but what are the approach here? Let's extend our automation or our testing. That is when the scenario comes.
Okay, if this scenario comes, what you can do is, as the first scenario was what I told, you can create a batch file for Selenium test, as well as you can call the batch test Parasoft using the SOATEST client. That will validate the UI as well as the database. Otherwise, what you can do is, you can import the jar file, Selenium jar file in this, and you will check how it works. I have to check that I have the project in Selenium also. So what I'll do is at the end of the day today, I will try to integrate with Parasoft and see if it works. So I will come to it again tomorrow.
But very importantly, I want that integration with HPLM.
HPLM is already there. HPLM is supported. Yes, Casper I told you about it.
Because there are a couple of projects which are coming in pipeline and
okay.
have set requirements.
Okay. But I was told Jira. Is it a requirement to integrate with Jira?
Jira is for defect management, right?
Yeah. But QC, you have the requirements as well as everything.
Okay, it's only the specific set of projects, but whatever the stream I am working on, we don't use Jira and we use ALM as a defect management.
Okay. So initially I was told that you have a requirement to integrate with Jira. So I was looking into that aspect. Yeah. ALM. Okay. Okay. Okay, automation framework will take the approach, like will create some tests which will take the shape of automation framework, how it will work in real world. So for now, we'll create different tests. You can come over here and I can help you.